Welcome to Hood's Huddle. Good weekend of football.
Great weekend, some good games.
Some great games there. We're going to jump right into it. The San Francisco Atlanta game. That game started off just crazy. I mean, it didn't look like Atlanta was going to be stopped at all. They were just going right down. Julio Jones, Matt Ryan seemed like the greatest connection. They looked like Montana and Rice for most of that first quarter. That was ridiculous.
They came out fired, and they were not letting it up when at the start of the game.
No, that was
pretty impressive.
One of the best. The Julio Jones had one of the best first quarters for any receiver that I've seen. Especially, he came up big. He came up real big. Blink of an eye at 17-0. Atlanta's defense was playing really well, I thought, in the first quarter. Overall, and then Kaepernick found Vernon Davis.
Yeah,
changed the game. They had four or five connections there that led to those touchdowns to make it 17-14. And next thing you know, we had a game. Vernon Davis looked like he was wide open in all those, like those whole drives. Kaepernick had that big run on third down, on that first touchdown, and then they just kind of kept moving from there. 2 minutes to go, though. It's 17-14. Atlanta has the ball, and they go right down the field to Tony Gonzalez, who, he looked spectacular for that whole drive, scored the touchdown. But the second half, Kaepernick just came out and went right down the field on that first drive. You would think it's 24-14, and Atlanta, had everything. They had it in their hands, and then Kaepernick goes down there, again, makes it a 3-point game again. And then it just kind of falls apart there for Atlanta. Matt Ryan throws the pick. When San Francisco would get the ball off the pick, they drove down the field, and then Akers missed the field goal. But then Atlanta got the ball back. Ryan fumbles, go down to the one. Crabtree fumbles. They didn't move the ball at all. San Francisco's defense played really well. Scored a touchdown, and last play of the game,
they had Tony Gonzalez pretty much wide open.
Pass the first down.
Bad decision.
You got it.
I blame Matt Ryan for that last one there.
We see this time after time. These quarterbacks are throwing in looking for the pass interference. I think that's what he was looking for.
Maybe
on these third and fourth down plays that are costing him games. Why is he throwing it? Why you have a Tony Gonzalez wide open? That guy was blanketed. I don't know any other reason other than I thought he was trying to get a penalty. That was my first thought. I thought he was trying to get a flag out of that because he had two defenders around him. Well, the guy was all over him. You maybe could have got a pass interference, but in that situation,
I thought that was a good play by Bowman.
I thought it was a great play by Bowman. I wouldn't have been mad if I saw a flag. I don't think you could have argued if there was a flag. I'm not arguing that there wasn't a flag, but I don't throw it to a guy with somebody right there on his back when I have Tony Gonzalez wide open because I'm looking for a flag.
I'd
get
the
first down.
Yeah, I'd rather take the chance to catch it.
Maybe he didn't see Tony Gonzalez. I'm not back there. I'm not a quarterback. Just to me, that's what it looked like. Is he was trying to get the flag, and it didn't happen. But great game nonetheless. The Niners just were throwing at will.
Kaepernick was fantastic in this game. He just couldn't stop.
It seems like it took him a little bit to get the wheels moving, but once he did, he couldn't be stopped. Like I said, Atlanta's defense didn't look like they were able to stop him after that first touchdown because other than the Crabtree fumble, other than the Akers missed field goal, I think they punted twice since the first touchdown, maybe 3 times since the first touchdown. Atlanta's defense disappeared. Kaepernick, though, he took complete advantage of that through it.
He found Vernon Davis, and he just didn't go back.
Vernon Davis seemed like he was wide open the whole first half. Well, the second quarter, really, not the first half. The second quarter, Vernon Davis seemed like he was wide open every single play they threw to him.
He's just too fast in the middle of the field. They can't keep up with him.
Yeah, it looked like they had a D end on him at one point, and I'm thinking that's a bad idea. Then they put a linebacker on. I'm like, I guess that's not too much better. You know what I mean? It's not too much you can do there. But I think Atlanta's defense really became the story for why I think they lost this game. The offense, they played a great first half, not that good of a second half.
They played well enough to win. They didn't convert what they needed.
No, and they stayed aggressive the whole time, but I think it was because it was close. I don't think that they got conservative. I think that they ran the ball enough because I think that was kind of a knock that people didn't think they were going to be. I think they tried to hand the ball off enough. I just think there was that 49ers defense played a great second half to keep their team in it to end up winning after going down 17-0. They didn't get discouraged. But, that last play, like I said, I don't want to see that being Tony Gonzalez's last play of his career. It's going to be a shame to watch him go out like that.
I really hope he comes back.
I do too.
That's not the way to go.
He's a pain for teams he's playing, but man, he is fun to watch. I really do hope he comes back.
even though I had the 49ers winning this one, I really wanted to see Tony G get that one. Just because,
absolutely. I think it's a good
awesome.
story. I love seeing, if I wouldn't have been mad to see the Atlanta win that because Tony Gonzalez, great player, deserves a Super Bowl at some point in his lifetime, and I thought that he played well enough to get there this year. He really did. In that game, he played well enough to get there. But speaking of other guys who've had long careers without Super Bowl, Randy Moss. He came up with a big play in this game to get them there down the side of the field.
He had a big catch.
He had a big catch. I mean, he hasn't been the marquee guy. I said before the season I made the wrong claim of saying that he was going to be the best receiver on the team. I was obviously wrong, but I think he brought a really good veteran leadership. Randy Moss. It's not a bad thing for him.
He's going back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, going back to the Super Bowl. He wants to get that one because he didn't have too many chances with the Patriots after that one Super Bowl. That was the best year of his career, and it seemed like they dropped him in a blink of an eye a few years later. But what about the switch at quarterback? Looks pretty good now.
Harbaugh made the right decision. I mean, as a quarterback, him being a quarterback, he probably saw it, and he probably was like, I'm going with this.
Halfway through the year, I mean, to make that move, to make that kind of decision is just everyone knocked him for it. I mean, there was a lot of people who said, "Oh, it's a good idea." Some people said it's a bad idea. There was so much commotion around it, but it didn't seem like it affected the 49ers offense. It didn't seem like it affected the 49ers as a team. They supported them, and now they're a step further than they were when Alex Smith was the quarterback. That was they opened it up a lot. Down 17-0 in the AFC or in the NFC Championship on the road.
And you can come back.
Do you think Alex Smith would have been able to do that?
I don't know. I mean, Alex Smith, the way he played this year, he could.
Yeah,
if he played the way he played before.
He had some accurate throws, and I think that it's not just Kaepernick that got him there, but at the same time, that big run on third down to spark that first
Kaepernick
touchdown.
Definitely has a little more ability.
And I think he throws the deep ball a little better, and I think that's what kind of separates them because I don't think that Alex Smith has a better short game than Kaepernick does, but at the same time, Alex Smith is a lot more accurate than Kaepernick, but they're not afraid to let it loose there for Kaepernick. So that move ends up looks
genius.
Looks real good. Moving on to the next game, one Harbaugh brother and the other one playing the Patriots in Foxborough in the AFC Championship. Been here before. That's hard. It's hard to beat the Patriots in Foxborough in any time after December, but the Patriots take that 13-0 lead. I mean, it seemed like everything they did for both teams was a struggle. I think that was even the touchdown. I mean, it was a 1-yard touchdown. It was on third down. The Belichick fake punt. Well, the not fake punt because the Ravens ended up calling a timeout. But that was a smart move right at the beginning of the game. Yeah. But it seemed like you needed to do things like that throughout this game to really. It was a hard fought. Everything was hard fought for both sides there. The Patriots took that 13-0 lead. You're like, all right, well, and then the Ravens come right down after that first touchdown with answer to the touchdown of their own with the Ray Rice run where he wouldn't go down. I mean, that was just it was only 2 yards, but it looked like it was the hardest 2 yards of his career. The Ravens had put a good drive together, a really balanced drive. I thought Flacco throwing some key passes on that drive.
Flacco was pretty good in this game.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't open it up right away. I felt like the wind might have got to him a little bit at the start, but once he started going, he was unstoppable.
Yeah, right there at the end of the first half, it's 13-7, and the Patriots have the ball. They're moving down the field. That 4th and 1, they go for it. They get the run. I thought the Ravens should have called a timeout to try to stop them because I thought there's no way you can let the Patriots score here, because if they do score. If they score a touchdown, I really thought it would just be too hard for the Ravens to come back. But then the Patriots get down the red zone. Brady goes for that run. He has that awkward slide where, I don't know what he was trying to do there. I think he was trying to protect himself. Other people say he's trying to kick. I don't know. It's in the air. Whatever. Either way, why not call a timeout there? Because he made that run knowing that they had a timeout. So if they called a timeout right away, it's not like he was going to do that again.
He should either threw it out of bounds or used the timeout.
But I think he was expecting Belichick to call a timeout. And maybe not even Belichick, anybody to call a timeout because it's not the worst thing in the world because they call a timeout there. He could do that on the next play. It's not like they weren't going to get the field goal attempt, because they had another try or two at it. They didn't call a timeout. It ends up going down where they just have to kick a field goal. I mean, it looked sloppy. It looked really unpatriot-like in that situation. They go in up 13-7, and then Flacco becomes just monstrous. I mean, he seemed unstoppable in that second half. They started off a little slow in the second half, but once they opened it up, I was like screaming at my TV, run, 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 run. But then he would prove me wrong that they didn't have to run. He was just finding wide open receiver after wide open receiver goes down. Bolton had a huge game because I think the Talib injury, we both talked about that. The Talib injury ends up becoming huge.
That was huge.
Because, I mean, not that Bolton wasn't having a good game before, but he turned it on after Talib got hurt.
It was definitely something the Patriots needed to be able to hold the Ravens offense back. And
Absolutely.
Once he went out, it was a whole different game.
You brought it up on the last show. I said the Patriots defense was horrible the first few weeks of the season. You said, well, after they put Talib in there, that's when they turned around. And you were right. Talib goes out, and they look like the Patriots for the first few weeks, where they couldn't stop too much. I mean, that was just
that's tough. They had a couple rough injuries. The Patriots did. That Ridley fumble was ridiculous. He got absolutely lit up.
Man, he was just laying there.
I thought he was done for a minute.
Yeah, that was.
And the whole scrum's going on. Everyone's going after the football, and he's just
trainers
laying
are standing around him, and there's still a scrum going on. I think it took the refs way too long. If that's the replacement refs, people are flipping out.
Yeah, I agree.
The refs took way too long on that to make any kind of decision. They're fighting down at the bottom pile while the guy's laying there, pretty much unconscious, 2 feet away. They have trainers trying to protect him. I mean, that was a mess. But Ridley. It was good to see him walk off that field because that was one of the hardest
scary moments.
Yeah, that was a crazy hit, but
unfortunate fumble on that, and then the tip ball at the end there.
Yeah, I mean that
was huge. And all these times the Patriots are driving.
Yeah, the Patriots are moving the ball, and they have things like that happen. The Ravens did a good job on that tip pass. I feel like they had the tip pass the week before. I feel like that's the only way that they really looked at it. Is if the defensive line gets their hands up, somebody else can get these picks because that's how they would get it against Manning and Brady. And they executed that well. I mean, Brady looked good. Other than that last, under 2 minutes pick, that was kind of, I think that was just Brady out of frustration.
Yeah, you can't put that on him either.
But overall, I think that Brady had a good game. He threw for 300+ yards. He wasn't on the field a lot in the second half. They did have chances. I'm not saying it was not his fault at all because he had chances to win this game as much as anybody else. But I feel like, he just wasn't on the field enough in the second half. The Ravens did a good job. Their offense did a good job of keeping them off. And
that's the way you beat the Patriots.
That's exactly right. Yeah, keep Tom Brady off the field. You're going to beat the Patriots.
In the second half, Joe Flacco turned it on.
Joe Flacco looked unstoppable in the second half. I mean, he outplayed Brady in the biggest parts of these games. And that's 2 years in a row we went to Foxborough and did that. This year it finally works out for him. Ray Lewis, I mean, I said it. I thought it was a storyline going into it. I thought he was just, he's not going out without at least getting to the Super Bowl. He got there. He is 1 tackle away from tying the most tackles in postseason history. That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
I mean, if you're going to go out, that's the way to go out. This is his last season.
Go out on top. That's for
crazy.
Sure.
His last 3 games, and now it's going to be his last 4 games. He's going to end it with the most tackles. All he needs is 2, and he'll have the most tackles in the history of the playoffs. Well, in one playoff run. I mean, that's just
unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean that's unbelievable. That's showing how much he wants it. And I really thought that he was quiet in the first half, but the second half he stepped up as a leader. He is and played really well.
They did. Good for Ray. He deserves it.
That was good.
It was a good game.
That was a really good game.
Touch up on the Harbaugh brothers a little bit.
Brothers. I mean, that's
first Super Bowl ever with the 2 brothers squaring off as coaches.
That's got to be tough because you want to be happy for your brother. You really do. But if you lose the Super Bowl, you're not going to go over to that other locker room and celebrate with him. And that's just.
This is like a big stage of Madden. You and your brother are playing a game of Madden. This is just on. This is like times 10,000.
This is unbelievable.
The winner, you're going to be happy your brother won, but at the same time, you're like, I just lost the Super Bowl.
I feel bad for the parents as much as I feel bad for the loser of this game because what do you do? You got to go over and give your one son a hug, but while at the same time, you got to celebrate and drink champagne with the other one. I mean, that's got to be rough. You got to wear neutral colors. I mean, I'm going in all orange or something because I just, I don't want to show it that I'm rooting for either team, obviously. I don't think either of them will, but I mean, it's gotta be a hard day for everybody, but also it's gonna be a fun day. I think they're taking it in stride so far. It's early. It's really early.
I think they'll be okay. They seem like they're pretty close. So it'll be a little bit. There's gonna be a little bit of that brotherly jabbing going on.
Absolutely.
I mean,
this
it makes for an interesting story.
And who knows each other better than brothers, right?
Absolutely.
So that kind of makes it a little more. The Ravens got the best of them in the first Harbaugh Bowl, and this one just
that was a close game though. That was I think it was decided by 3.
No, I think it ended up being like a 13-6 game, but I remember it was close going late. I mean, I remember it was one of those. It was on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those, But either way, I think they're gonna take a shot. I think they're gonna have a lot of fun with it. It's exciting. It's gonna be interesting. I think it adds a whole new element, and it's something the media is eating up, just absolutely eating up.
Absolutely.
That was the championship wrap up. I went 2-0. Joe went 1-1, but both were good games. Could have went either way. Next week